What's up, Monty? How's it going?
Good, you?
Good. Is this, we talked to Scar and a couple guys after the game, just talking about Louisville next week, or this week now. I think Josh said it was the game like he had circled. Like, you know, you take them one game at a time, but knowing what happened last year, this was a game that you're really fired up to try to get back at those guys. How do you feel about facing Louisville on Friday?
I usually take it one game at a time, but obviously, you know, what happened last year, you know, we all have a chip on our shoulder.
How would you describe, thinking back on that game, the physicality that Louisville brought to UCF?
Like you said, like the O-line is coming back. You know, they're a big stretch team. You know, they're quick and athletic. They're big. They're up front. They're big. You know, I mean, I see them as, you know, I think they have 2 NFL guys on their roster, maybe more. So, you know, seeing how, you know, big they are, how well they can move, they can bring some physicality. So the D-line has to step up too.
Well, for guys who played against them last year, what do you take away from that? What can you share with guys that didn't play?
Start with 3. Yeah, the quarterback, like, he's really shifty. You know what I mean? Like, he's a really good player. You know, I mean, they have other really good players on the team. You know what I mean? They have, I think a 6'5", like, slot receiver or tight end. You know, he can make plays. You know, all up front, like, they're a really good team. But what we saw in Syracuse wasn't them, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to see something different coming into our game.
Whether we had last year's game as a factor or not for Louisville, this would be one you guys that have circled, I think, for a quarterback as mobile as Malik Cunningham. Can you kind of explain, you know, as much as you can, you know, your role and what you would do to help the linebackers contain that threat?
Shoot, I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to ask Coach about that one. I don't want to give away too much. You know what I mean? We have our game plan set, and, you know, we have, you know, Malik Cunningham, we have him circled. We know he can move. Obviously, we want him to stay in the pocket. You know what I mean? We don't want him getting out in the open field just because, you know, he's athletic. Like, it is what it is, you know?
And when you had a young linebacker core behind you, like how much, you know, you think this is a big test for them after coming out of camp? Do you think this will give them a chance to show off their skills?
I mean, each game's going to show their skills. The people behind me, they're athletic. You know what I mean? They're great people. So, you know, I think each game's going to show what they have.
Do you feel like your group, the defense overall, did a good job of stopping the run against South Carolina State?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we did a good job. Obviously, we had technique issues. Personally, I had a lot of technique. I was kind of like all over the place, you know, against South Carolina State. But, you know, I think we did a decent job. I think the defense can do a little bit more. But, you know, it's just taking day by day.
Reflecting a year later, when you got home from Louisville last year, how did you guys try to, you know, rebound, and what was maybe those first couple practices like with all the injuries that had taken place and the new faces on the offense and defense side of the ball?
So obviously after that game, coming home, it's a loss. You know, I mean, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. We watched the film, studied it, seeing what we did wrong, seeing, you know, kind of like the what if scenarios, like, dang, if I would have did this, that would have happened. But that's always in the past. You know, we're always, you know, next guy up, the next game up. So even with the injuries, it was plugging in the pieces that we needed.
Your teammate, Ricky Barber, he's from Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
That was an important game to him last year, and he was one of those guys that got injured and got banged up. Have you talked to him this week? I mean, I'm sure he's fired up. I'm sure he knows guys on that other side.
Yeah.
What has he been telling you?
Now, he's fired up. You know, he was mad at, obviously, that he didn't get a chance to play them, you know, last year. I think at WKU he played them for probably like 6 years now, so he knows their offense pretty well. You know what I mean? So he wants to show what he can do, and I think he's going to do really great.
How much of an advantage do you think it is that you guys played Thursday night? All right, so you would be able to be off your feet Friday, Saturday. Louisville was playing on Saturday night on the road. They didn't get home till the wee hours of Sunday. At best, they'll have 3 days of prep for you guys. Do you think that's an advantage in your favor?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have a short turnaround, so everything's going to be a little faster for them. It's gonna, you know, they got to get everything quick. They have to learn a new scheme if they're putting in a new scheme, whatever they're doing. For us, we had I'll say a day extra, so we have a little bit, you know, rest on our bodies compared to them. But then they also have to travel to us, so I think that is a factor. But you know, in my mind, I'm not going to put that as a major factor just now.
You mentioned Louisville's quarterback. When you look at film, what else do you see that they do well?
Well, they're all experienced. You know, the O-line's coming back from last year. I think they have one new person, I want to say, that's on that O-line, but for the most part, they all came back from last year. So, you know, that pass pro and that, you know, their run blocks, they're all very, you know, connected. I'll say that. You know what I mean? They have that, you know, experience, that senior experience, you know, that game experience with each other, especially with their quarterback. And seeing on the sideline for Syracuse, you can see Malik Cunningham, you know, even while they're down, he's still going to the teammates saying, listen, like, we can, you know, we're going to keep going, we're going to win. So with a quarterback like that, like who doesn't want to play with him? You know what I mean?
So from your perspective, you mentioned from the South Carolina State game, you were talking about your technique and polish you wanted to put on. The defense may have held the opponent there to only 91 yards, but as a unit, what were coaches, working on? What do you think was the biggest element of polish for the defense as a group?
As a group, that's actually kind of a hard question because we did well all around.
Mm-hmm.
It was just little things, hand placement, gap integrity, either being late off the ball or jumping off sides, penalties, stuff like that. That was really kind of like holding us back just a little bit.
When you play on Thursday, you're not playing on Saturday. Do you watch other college football? Like, what do you do on a weekend when you're not playing?
On the weekends, yes, I do watch some college football. But for the most part, I just lay in bed and I rest.
So did any games pique your interest, or are you kind of?
I mean, I was like the Louisville and Syracuse game. That was like the main one that I really wanted to watch, and then I also seen the FSU and LSU game.
We all know what's on the line. It's what happened last year. Is there ever any concern about putting too much into one game?
That's a deep question. I'll say yes and no. Obviously, we still have other games to go for, but as a defense and as a whole unit, we always have the mindset of take one game at a time. So we're going to put in everything we have for that one game, and then as soon as that game's done, we go on to the next. We watch the film, we see what we did wrong, and then it's in the past. Can't do anything about the past. We just got to keep moving forward.
Just like you guys are fired up to play, I know the fan base has been circled this game on their calendar too. It's going to be a packed house. How much are you looking forward to having Louisville having to come here and play in that environment?
It's going to be fun. I'm hoping that it's all out packed. What was it, the 2017 UCF game? How loud it was there. So I'm hoping that can play a factor into the game as well.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Great job, bud.